So, one of the things that we get asked about a lot, in the training and the fun map discussion channel is that tankers, they get out of fuel, they go and land and they just sit there, or someone crashes into them and they're gone forever, or someone like a prospect comes along and shoots a tanker down, and then we're down a tanker until the mission resets. So the mission reset stuff are just generic triggers inside mission editor itself. These are the notifications, and then it's literally just a hey, do a mission reload after 19,800 seconds and reload the fun map. I'll have to select another 2.0 fun map. We'll get more into the file thing here because it's actually very important for Moose later on. And there's a really common mistake that people make that I've noticed. It's gets talked about quite a bit. Okay, so anyway, back to the mission. So we still have 3 tankers. We have Texaco, who will come out here, and he'll have about 30 miles between his 2 orbit points. So he's going to fly out here to 1, and you'll notice on 1 there is a orbit advanced waypoint action. So he'll always orbit between the point that is on and the next point. So he's going to sit here and orbit here until he runs out of fuel. And then his next waypoint is to send him to base, where he'll land. Same thing over here with Shell and Texaco. Or Shell and Arco, sorry. So this is Arco. He comes out here and does his orbit here. If you'll notice, Shell now goes out to here. We did have Texaco here, and Arco. Actually, Texaco was like this. Arco was like this, and then Shell was like this. On the training map, and I want to make that distinction too. So the training map, when there's 50 plus people online, that's a lot of people for just a couple tankers. That was one of the complaints the other night. I wasn't there, but I could definitely see that because it's happened to me before, where my flight tries to go up and get some fuel and you get nothing. So I think for the fun map, this will be okay. And I'll kind of, like I said, I'll explain why Shell's over here a little bit later when we start getting into this red stuff. But for now, just, believe me, it's okay. So, from the player perspective, we're going to go ahead and just start this mission. One thing to note, also, these are all late activations. Late activations. Same thing with, yes, there's actually an AWACS now, Magic. Magic is on 344.025. If you look in the ACE.io document that Sage and Chicken put together, you'll see that FAD1 AWACS is this frequency. Same thing for, if you look at Sage's one-page sheet he put together for the VFA 25, preset 6 on radio 1 and 2 are tied to FAD1. So when I set all the presets on all the jets for the 122 and the 25, preset 6 is configured to 344 or 25. So when we finally added the AWACS, I knew, hey, I'll just type in the frequency and I'm good to go. I'm pretty sure that when Yomo had me do his groups, let's see here, 231, they have 344 or 25 right there. So preset 6 also for the 231 guys will be AWACS. So that helps. So that's why we have the ACIO thing. So we'll have consistent frequencies all the way across, and we all decided, hey, AWACS would probably be good at one point, which is why it's a preset. That may change. I think Bonds had some really good ideas about radio stuff. But we won't get into that right now. The point thing is these are all late activation because I want everyone to understand that these objects here, this is just a template. This is just a template. If I was to start this mission and I didn't have Moose loaded or my script loaded that talks to Moose, nothing would spawn. You know, it's not like a regular mission where you click this, do your waypoint, start the mission, start flying around. Moose is the orchestrator of everything. All we're defining is templates in here, and that's a weird concept for people that aren't used to that, you know, like scripting and stuff. But it's pretty simple. But like I said, we'll cover more of that in the second half of the video. I kind of just want to show you how this is working. So we're going to go ahead and start. It's fine. The first load is always the slowest, you know, so. So essentially what we're going to see is that all three tankers and Arco, or I'm sorry, and the AWACS will all spawn in pretty much immediately. So it may look like they're not late activation, but I promise you they are. And I do have labels turned on because it's going to be a little bit easier just to find things later on. So yeah, we can look. They've already spawned in. So there is Shell. There's Arco. And they're, you know, starting, you know, they're hot starts on the tarmac. You know, I thought about having them, you know, like air starts on them because it takes a little bit for them to spool up. But I mean, realistically, see, I mean, they're already taxiing. And realistically, by the time, you know, these guys get in the air and ready to go, most people are still like either hot starting their jet or they're not even the server. Because remember, the server is going to run for about 6 hours until it does a restart. It's actually, what, 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock? 7:30 actually game time. Yeah, 14 to 19. So what's that, 5 hours? Yeah, so 5.5 hours. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's early, my math. So these guys are going to tank, or excuse me, taxi. Turn out here to the runway. And they're going to take off and fly those patterns that we talked about. You know what? This isn't going to work because, you know, we'd only need to change one of these guys, so where's Arco? We're going to use Arco as our test guy. Yeah, his fuel's so high we'd be sitting there for quite a long time. So we're going to drop it down to, I don't know, 20%. We'll do 15%, 14%, whatever. It really doesn't matter. Alright, save. Second load should be a lot quicker because we just loaded everything into RAM. There we go. Yeah, much faster. All right, so F10. Oh, we were over here. There is Arco. We're gonna F2. We're gonna watch it. Excuse me, guys. All right, we're gonna watch him, and we're gonna speed it all up. Kind of laggy. Sorry. There we go. Yeah, sometimes I have to Alt Tab if it's like lagging or whatever, and then my frame rate goes good again. So I don't know. We'll see. What is my frame rate right now? See, I'm hitting the 80s, 90s. You know, it's not too bad. Like I said, my monitor has a refresh rate of 120, so I'd like to be higher up there, but not a big deal. You know, G-Sync takes care of tearing and stuff. So anyway, all right, let's go. These guys are, you know, rolling out, and really what I want to show is what happens when a tanker runs out of fuel. So Arco's going to go up, and if we remember, you know, he has, you know, some waypoints out here. I think it's around here somewhere, you know, 1 and 2, and he's going to come out here in orbit if he has the fuel to do so. And just a note, Texaco is going to come out here, and when he does this orbit, he's going to be at 10,000 feet by the carrier group in Tarawa, and Arco is going to be at 14,000 feet out here. And Shell, who's going to be, you know, way out over here, again, we'll cover that later, is going to be at 18,000 feet. Alright, so he's coming out here, he's heading to his waypoint, and he's going to start his racetrack. He's at 14,000 feet, you know, 300 knots, which, you know, indicated airspeed is actually 245, so it's a lot better than like 180 what guys are actually seeing, so. Sorry, my track IR is like wigging out here. There we go. So he's flying his little pattern, you know, and we're going to see him, you know, once he gets low on fuel here in a second, kind of dip out. So he's still making his little racetrack. Like I said, you know, these are about 30 miles apart, his orbital points, just because that is what I was talking to Storm about. Storm gave that recommendation. I figured, you know, the guy who's done it before would know best, so. You know, maybe this guy's going to run out of fuel. Maybe I'm just a liar. Did I change Texaco? Or no, Texaco's still out there doing his thing too. Let's just keep watching him for a second here. Okay, now he's run out of fuel. So he's turning back to the airbase. So this is where some people differ. So I shouldn't say differ. The suggestion is have him already have a new guy spawn by the time he's RTB. We can do that with Moose. I threw that out there in the Moose community, and there's some things we could try and do. Set up like trigger zones. And you know, when I say trigger zones, I don't mean like put a zone here and trigger something in the mission editor. Again, remember, this is all orchestrated by Moose, so you have to script it out. So we could try and do that. We'd have to put something in there to deactivate the TACAN beacon, because if you have, you know, duplicate TACANs activate at the same time, you know, DCS doesn't like that and kind of freaks out. I think this will be okay, though, because even though, you know, they're going to run out of fuel, they're going to come back, and what's going to actually happen is Arco's going to jump down here. And, you know, we had to wait for the taxi for him to actually get to the runway and take off. I've actually scripted this so that when he lands, he's gone, and another one is already spawned. Where's he at? Don't worry about the red guys you see right now. We're going to get to them later. So, yeah, Arco, you know, he's taking off again. Same TACAN. You know, I've been seeing this quite a bit, too. It takes a little bit for textures to load in. So it looks like he's, you know, driving on water. Not sure why. This started with the last couple updates of DCS, but it'll load in eventually. Usually does anyway. There we go. So yeah. So that's what happens there, you know. Once they refuel, they go back to base, touchdown, and as soon as they touch down, another one is started and goes. I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem, guys. Not with 3 tankers on the map. And, you know, this is the fun map, not the training map, so it's not like we're going to have 50 guys up here all trying to tank at once, you know, or all trying to tank for the same amount of time. You know, these are going to sub in and out, you know, and he really wasn't off station that long. 10, 15 minutes maybe. So it's not that big of a deal, I don't think. And if it is later, you know, we can go back and I can look at, you know, scripting and, you know, to take off the new one when this guy hits his zone to disable his TACAN, and you know, we can try that. It does require some scripting, though, and at this point, honestly, I kind of just want to get the map out because I don't want to be stuck in, hey, one more thing, hey, one more thing. Because I'm just one guy, and I'm trying to do the best I can, and everybody has their own ideas and requests, so it's just going to take a little bit of time, so be patient. The other question is, you know, we're going to quit this out. Let us show what happens. So we're going to throw... You know, we're going to use Arco again because he's a pretty good guy. F-18, where's he at? And I'll go ahead and just fly that guy real quick. I don't really care about skin, but I know this will bother Greeks, so I'm gonna use the clean one just because I know that, you know, kind of bothers me too. I like the dirty one a little better, but there we go. So there's our jet. We'll just take up, I don't know, this guy. Why not? And where are we going to spawn? We're there. Let's go there, because by the time I get over towards here, he should be taken off. Yeah, that's fine. Let me grab my joystick, guys. Sorry, I gotta mount this back to the table. For those who don't know, I use these Monster Tech mounts that I just clamp to the table, and then I'm good to go. No track IR. I actually have a window behind me. It kind of messes with track IR during the day. It's kind of my, hey idiot, don't play DCS, you're supposed to be working. So, I've been reluctant to try and fix that. Because it's really hard. I have no discipline. So at least this way, it's harder for me to play DCS. But then here we are at 10:30 in the morning on a weekday, doing a DCS video. Although I don't have to be anywhere for work for a few hours, for customer meetings. So anyway, new airplane, and we're gonna go ahead and fly. All right, so we're flying. What we really we have the air runway in front of us. Let's go ahead and turn on air to air. Master arm's already on. Let's select our sparrows. Okay. Radar's fine. We'll go ahead and I already had it selected. Man, I am there. Let's do. I mean, all these altitudes are fine. See, that's my track IR wigging out. I'm sorry. I have to do that. I don't know what the pause button is on it. I forgot again. So anyway, we're gonna come here. I'm actually gonna throttle down, speed up the map. I'm just gonna shoot this tanker down. I mean, it doesn't matter if I crash into it, trying to refuel, or if I shoot it down. The end result's the same. Arco's gonna die. So, we see him taxiing out there. I think they're both out here right now, yeah. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and just throttle up, and I'm going to throw heaters on. Oh, I see him on the radar there. Yep, okay, we got a lock. We know he's a friendly because he is a square, not a diamond. If he was a diamond, that's a bad guy. We all learned that. So we're throttling up here. What I'm waiting for is the shoot cue. There it is, shoot cue. The solid one versus the flashing one, you kind of want to wait till it's flashing. I think that's the no escape trajectory or something. And Jethro or Bonds will know way more than me. It's just what I remember reading in the documentation that came with the F-18. So, okay, Arco's dead. I kept the radar lock on him, because it is semi-active. So, let's do F2. If we look behind us there, Arco's respawned. Shell's just taken off. Again, don't worry about red guys. They're not our concern. Oh, I'm bad. I can just do this. Yeah, so he's there. And actually, cool, we can see his waypoints like that too. So yeah, Arco's going to respawn. That's for all the tankers and AWACS too. So you shoot them down, they come back up. They run out of fuel, they come back up. Pretty cool. Alright, I think my dog's about to bust in here. Yep. Hey, hold on a second, guys. Alright, you can stay in here. Come on. You know? Okay. Alright, sorry about that. He likes to bust in from time to time. Okay, so that's really tankers, and, AWACS is the same thing, So I will say, I do have a limit for them to respawn. There's going to be 10 of them that it will respawn, but, if you guys kill a tanker 10 times over, a 5.5 hour period or whatever, then we got problems. We could set it to infinite, but I don't know. I just set it to 10 because I thought 10 was a pretty high number. So yeah, tankers respawn now. Good. Whether they run out of fuel or they blow up. So, if you're worried about blowing up a tanker, refueling or crashing into it, don't worry about it. Another one will come right back up. And we have 3 of them. Alright, so what most people are probably waiting for is all of this red. So, the way Moose works is, again, it's reading all of the stuff you've built in here, and you're defining everything inside the scripts. So what we have is what is called air-to-air dispatcher. AI air-to-air dispatcher. So we've set up dispatcher to auto-spawn MiGs based on what is coming at them. So we have a cap zone here, a cap zone here, and a cap zone here. West, south, and east. I'm going to try and keep this kind of, it's going to be a little vague because I don't want to get too burdened in the scripting stuff for those that aren't interested. We'll get way more in depth in this here in a little while. So what's going to happen is if you spawn a plane, and you know what, I'm just going to spawn a plane and we're going to look at this and see what happens. So we're going to put him here, and we're going to fly him here. And we're going to know that there's this red polygon, this border. It's called Iran border. So with Moose, you can define a polygon as a zone object. So, in regular DCS, you put a zone down, it's a circle, and you put a bunch of circles down, those are all your zones. Moose will actually read, this is a Ka-50, an actual helicopter, set to late activation. This helicopter's waypoints to define a zone. So this zone is the Iranian border. The way we scripted in Moose is that if this guy, or if any blue crosses this border, Iran's going to get pissed off and come after you, basically. You could fly up to the border here, and you can fly along this border, and they won't do anything. But once you cross over, you're in trouble. So we're going to kind of show that here. Let's put him in here, and we're going to have him cross the border. I kind of want to just run through these a little bit. Alright, sorry about that. I actually had a phone call for work, so I stopped it, started again. I actually moved the F-18 down here, because realistically we're not going to just, fly straight into them. So I'm going to simulate this F-18 is going to come over here and try and bomb something on this island. And what I have set up is that if you notice the border zone, it went through here and cut above these two islands, they're neutral, and cut down through here and around. And again, it's at 18 miles off the coast that someone mentioned in Discord that I wanted to keep. So I guess my idea is that, Iran's kind of given up these two islands, but we don't occupy them either. And then this island right here is also neutral. It's kind of like being fought for. So if, I guess story-wise, if we were to have a story, we would say Iran's not going to launch anything if we're just going to these islands. But they will if we're going to the big island. And technically why I thought that was because at some point, you can add different modules to do air-to-ground missions like CAS, cargo, stuff like that. And I wanted there to be some way you could, do some missions up here without having them, come after you. But if you did want to do something like that, where you had a cap or something go with you or escort, you could fly and do something on this island where Iran would spawn. So I don't know, I just wanted options. I like options. So anyway, this F-18 is going to head towards this island, and we're going to see what happens. Alright, so cap flight is launched. If you remember, there are 3 cap zones. This cap zone is going to have 2 planes, this cap zone will have 2 planes, and this will have 4. This has 4 because he's farther away from any other base, and backup will take quite a while. So the way this works is that once you cross this magical border, Iran's going to respond. And it's all detection based, so they still have to detect you too, and I'll show you why that's important here a little bit. So I'm flying across. Boom. A plane spawned. This is called GCI. So what the script is doing is there is a range called engage radius that is part of the determining factor whether a cap flight's going to engage you or not. It's 50 miles. So I assume this is more than 50, so we're at 58 miles. So the logic here is that, hey, cap flight, this guy we've detected on the radars, he's now crossed the border. Can you engage him? Cap flight makes a calculation, says, hey, I'm 56 miles away, 57, whatever. I can't do it because GCI from this base can pick him up. He's at 45, and I think GCI is set to launch anything 75 miles out. So, and again, you have to cross the border. So he can see further, and there's logic built in, that hey, he more than 50 miles. Let's go ahead and just launch GCI craft. So I'm one fighter. He's gonna launch one fighter, come after me. Now I know that's probably not realistic, but I also didn't want it. You just fly out there and get murdered every time too. I wanted you to kind of have a fighting chance. I don't think I loaded this F-18 with any armaments, so he doesn't have a fighting chance. So it's not a really good example. But what's gonna happen is, if you were to happen to win your one-on-one, if these guys are within 50 miles next, then they're going to come after you, because this is considered one flight, a group. If not, if you're still, they're still more than 50 miles out, GCI is going to launch one more plane and one more plane. Now we can change that. It's called overhead. I like the 1.5 overhead setting, and we may want to go to that in the future, but for now, this is pretty good for a first release. And what a 1.5 overhead means is that you will get 1.5 times your plane rounded up to the next number. So, obviously 1.5 is going to be 2 because, or is it going to be 3? There's a chart out here. I don't know math right now. I'm sorry, guys. But if you had 2 planes, you'd get 3 after you. If you had 4 planes, you get 6, I believe. So they're going to be launched a little slightly more than you have. But here's the thing. These are set to infinite respawns at the bases. So you're never going to come here and conquer Iran as a 2-flight F-18, I mean, what I wanted this to be was kind of a living world where if you want to go up and fight some MiGs, you can. And then they're not going to come down and bother everybody. And I don't want you to go up there and, fight 5 MiGs, and then they don't spawn anymore, because that doesn't help anybody else who jumps on the server an hour later. So they're infinite. So we're just going to see what happens here. So we saw the GCI spawned a guy. We're going to fly in. He's going to come out. And he spawned a MiG-29. These are 29s. These are 29s. Okay, that's pretty unlucky for us. Yeah, so he's engaged. And I didn't load any weapons on him, so. And you'll notice the cap light's not coming to help him because we have that overhead set. They'll probably engage if we had killed him, because they're well within 50 miles. But yeah, and it's obviously not perfect. But it's good enough for what we're wanting to do. Let's go in here, and we're going to, just to show that again, we're going to put a second guy down. Actually, you know what? We're going to move a little closer too, so they spawn a little quicker, and have them come across over here. And we'll do 3. Because what I'm going to try and show is that, the cap flight will engage if we're within 50 miles, and at the same time, it'll launch another GCI craft to match our 3. So yes, we're going to save. X spectators, F10. And we're going to see what happens. So cap is launched. So caps will spawn within, a random time within like 90 seconds to 5 minutes. So launch GCI and cap is engaged as well this time. So now it's a 3-on-3. And again, I didn't load weapons because I really just like killing F-18s, I guess. So they're doing their thing. What I'd really like to show then is, them fighting. So let's go ahead and just delete 1, delete 2, keep this guy. Armaments, let's give him a lot to fight with. There. Just so we can show the respawning. Now, again, we have this speed set up really far up. So in real time, this is going to go a little bit slower, so you're just not swarmed. Um, I did have the spawn set to be on the ramp, and they taxi and take off, but that felt slow. Even runway, it's one at a time, and it felt super slow. Whereas, I did an air start for them, and they'll spawn over the runway. I think it's like 1,000 feet up or something. It felt a little more responsive and not so delayed. Because that last GCI flight would just sit there, he'd taxi, whatever, and by the time he finally got in the air, we'd probably have the cap flight already destroyed, which is kind of frustrating. So cap's gone out again, and they're going to hit their little patrol zone. Our 3 MiGs are going to come up. GCI's engaged. Cap's probably... Yeah, so they're engaged now. That's a good and a bad thing. Good thing is it's not like an instant everybody flocked to you, AI's cheating. It takes a little bit, they got their directions, they had to turn around, they had to come in, and we had already killed the first GCI spawn. So now these guys are all fighting, and these guys should launch another GCI craft here. There we go. And then it launches 2 more as well, because again, there's 3 of it. Or actually, that's the cap flight that got launched. Oh, I didn't even see. So they actually launched some MiGs from over here because we were over on this side. Interesting. So see, I even got bamboozled myself. You have to watch where they're coming from. This cap flight's already launched again. So we're actually ahead, and we actually won again. So... is this cap flight now engaged? It is. So it's never going to try and just overwhelm you and throw all resources at you. It's going to try and give you a fair fight. And we can tweak these settings, and, apparently I gave these guys way too much stuff. So he's launched a GCI. He's launched a new cap flight to cover the cap zone up here. And so they're going to keep coming. I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. We can tweak some of these settings, it's in the script. This is just a first pass, and I know everyone's going to have their own ideas and how it should work. You just have to, just be patient. So they're going back to the thing. The important thing to note here is that, once all the targets are destroyed that it detects in the zone, GCI flights will always return back to their base. So that's where he's going right now. Cap flights will always return to their cap zones. Unpause. We're going to see him come down here and land. And these guys can go back to their, cap flights. Tankers, you see them flying around through here. Again, they are, invisible to AI. We did make that setting. Just in case something weird happens, some kind of bug or glitch. We don't want to have to worry about the AI coming across the board and shooting them down. Although I'll tell you, we'll go ahead and show that. The AI is not going to engage you if you don't cross that border. I'll admit, I haven't tried this with an AI testing the border. I've only done it myself, flying along it. So what you do is, I'll come in, I'll spawn like waypoints for my plane along the border so I can show myself flying across it, but this may be easier. So we're just going to add a bunch of waypoints here. Doing a little border patrol action. And this is just to show that, as long as you don't cross that border, Iran doesn't care. It's not going to do anything to you. So there's F-18, and we're just going to speed up here. So let him fly his waypoints. Yeah, no, that's probably a little too much. I try to, you may speed up the time up here, to too fast. It kind of just lags, and I need to turn that off. Oh, see, I don't even know. Oh, haha, I know what he's doing. He detected those guys up there. I need to turn, yeah, his task is cap. We're just going to turn it to, like, I don't know, recon. We're doing a border reconnaissance. No. Why am I trying to, no. Okay. Yeah, so we're doing recon along this thing here. And, you know, just to show that we're going to kind of just change all these to, like, I don't know, 500 knots. You know, this will be easier if I just do this. Because, you know, 270 is kind of slow. And I just want to show flying along the border here. I mean, that's good. At this point, you know, you're going to see. I'll do one more. Why not? All right. All right, so now he's not set to do cap. He's just doing a little recon, and we're going to watch him fly along the border. And, you know, when I recorded this last night, I showed myself doing this, and maybe I should have gone that route just so you can see, but it's okay. So, guys are going in, flying along the border there. Do times 20, I think. Is it okay? Yeah. Cap flight is spawned. And so far, nothing. You know, they're up there just flying their cap. GCI hasn't launched anything against us. And, you know, it would be cool, you know, and I agree, someone's going to ask, well, can it detect you and then you spawn some stuff to go maybe match you at the border, et cetera, et cetera. Right now, know that you can't do that in Moose. I mean, we are limited by what the Moose framework allows us to do. So, yeah. Again, you know, flying along the border, Iran doesn't care. So you can do whatever you want south of that border. Cool. You know, go up there. He's going to make our turn. Nothing. So, yeah, I just wanted to prove to you that, you know, that border zone does exist. Now, if we were to change this and say we're going to clip into, I don't know, so we're going to go try and bomb something on that island and then try and get out. You know, he's not doing recon anymore. And we do want to give him something to fight with, I guess, so I'll do ground attack. Some heaters, sure. There. You know, it really doesn't matter. And honestly, his role doesn't matter. I just wanted that so he wasn't doing just recon, so he would, like, defend himself, I guess, if he did get, you know, a fighter launched on him. So now our guys are going to cross into that border. Oh. Resume. F10. Into this island here is what we showed. Because this is going to be important, because I want to show you. I'm going to load up another version of this mission just to show you something that isn't working like it's supposed to. But alright, so he's getting ready to cross into this border. You know, it runs down through here somewhere. Alright, so we should be around in there. Well then. Okay, so Cap did get involved. Okay, so Cap is chasing. Because they were within 50 miles. And they launched a GCI. So, I don't know if there was just a little bug there, but there you go. I don't know if GCI just took too long or what, but Cap did respond, so they did come engage us, so, you know, there is that. I guess Cap was up first, so yeah, they were within 50 miles. So again, you know, I just want to show that they come out there. So the problem is this is the bug. Let's go mission editor, file open. I have it on my just groove E. Disengage range, test fail. Here is the issue. This is the bare one. There's a function you can set and you can code out in Moose called disengage range, and you set a parameter for wherever the aircraft spawn, whether it's Cap or GCI. If they get a certain range away from that base, they will disengage the target unless they're still within the border, obviously. So right now I have it set to like 35 miles, something like that, maybe even 30. So if you get further than 30 miles away, it should disengage. Same thing here. Right around through here, it'll disengage as well. So, it seems like they're turning back. That doesn't appear to be working right now, and I'm going to show that. And, I've set something to, GitHub to flight control, and they've responded. And, if I don't care to show you guys my email, whatever. I'll zoom in. So yeah, I said, hey, disengage radius not being observed by AI. Uploaded my code. Flight control, yeah, he's seen similar issues, something to look at. Another guy who's a collaborator is, wants to test as well. I actually had to go remove the mod pack because obviously he didn't have Navy Deck Crew mod. So I've re-uploaded it for him. So they know it's an issue and they're looking at it, so it's not just, me messing up. So what's going to happen is here the F-18 is going to fly in, trigger, either GCI or cap, depending where the cap flight's at, because it's random inside that zone, to engage our boy. And then they're going to chase him. So on the surface, that sounds bad, like, oh, we don't want them down here, but it's really not that bad, and I'll show you why. Oh, so another thing, let me pause this. When I'm debugging, you're not going to see this, but this tactical overview in the top right, this tells me everything's, AI dispatchers controlling. So I see, he has 2 cap flights, one here, one there, a third cap flight, which is going to be launching from up here, and then they should have a 4th one spawning soon. Yeah, there it is. So now we have 4 cap flights. So we're flying in. The border's around here somewhere. I don't have exactly memorized. So cap is probably going to be close enough to engage. So hold on. In the target area is the border. It shows pilot 002. That's our pilot that spawned here. This cap now is engaging. I ran MiG-21 001. And earlier we showed 29s and now we have 21s. I'll show you in the mission editor, but again, just like the tankers, these guys are not placed here in the airfields. There's no plane spawning here. I actually have them like over here in the water somewhere so I can look at them. Set to late activation because again, Moose does all of the spawning, all of the tasking, all of the coordination. Moose is doing it all. We're just defining, the planes we want. And, when we get into the scripting part, we'll explain how to build this out. So, unpause. This cap is engaging. They're very slow to... Oh, well, actually, I told this guy to burn the whole time, so I wanted him to get away. So, yeah, he's going 700 knots. So, actually, they actually did disengage that time. So, again, this works sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. Which is why I submitted a bug. So that time it worked, which is great. I just want to show you. So here's the MiG-21, here's the MiG-29. Moose is, randomly picking one of these 2 to spawn over here. And again, when we get into scripting, we'll show the logic. So let's show this again. Let's rerun the simulation and show what happens. So that's interesting. Again, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, which is... it's good when it works, and it's not too bad when it doesn't, and I'll show you why. So let's run this again. So there's cap. Oh, I'm way too far for a fast forward. This will clear up, sorry about that. They're flying in their zone. And one of the recommendations, I did have the cap zones further up, but one of the recommendations from the Moose community was to move them back a little bit to try and help with this whole thing. So, okay. So cap is now engaging. They're really far away. And I have this guy set to burn. They're still engaging. Back to patrolling. Okay, so it's worked twice now. There's worked 21s to spawn, but it shouldn't matter. Just to prove this more, I'm going to turn off this whole burning speed thing. We're going to go down to 500. And 500. Kind of slow it down and speed it back up when he's trying to actually get out. And we're going to move him a little closer over here just to give him some more time in here. Man, I shouldn't have said anything. I just said, yeah, everything works perfectly. But the time it doesn't work is when everyone's going to say it doesn't work, so I just wanted to show it. And getting the tactical overview, you're not going to see this while you're playing. I just use it whenever I'm, debugging. We could have it on. I don't know. I find it kind of distracting if I'm just playing, so we'll see. I think F is fuel state, D is damage. So you'll see the fuel kind of dropping down. As we're flying in, patrolling. Okay, so they swapped to engaging there because I crossed the border. Yeah, these are MiG-29s too, so they're actually going to do a good job of probably catching up. Oh no, did I slow them down too much? Okay, good. This is what I wanted to show. So, we're across the border. Their home base is way out here. I have it set to, like I said, 30, 35 miles, something like that. We are 60 miles out. He's going to keep chasing. And again, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We just showed that. So these guys are either going to A, give up and return, or run out of fuel. See, that he ran out of fuel, and then he's going to, the reason he turned around is because, for whatever reason, it actually worked and kicked in at some point, but he's going to run out of fuel. His fuel state's 4. So either they run out of fuel trying to catch you and crash, or if they end up killing you around here, Moose is controlling them. Remember, it's not waypoints they're following or anything inside. So once the target's been killed, these guys are going to go back to, he's going back to his patrol. Anything that's GCI, once they kill their target that they've chased out, they go back and land. So it's really not that bad. Again, if they chase you, they end up running out of fuel anyway, because the disengage radius isn't. So there is a thing in the script to detect fuel state. So it's set to 20% right now, and they shouldn't RTB. The problem is, and this is well documented in the Moose community right now, the fuel threshold detection is not working. So again, we're at the limitation of Moose and DCS. DCS has a lot of limitations that Moose takes care of, but unfortunately, bugs happen. So, yeah. The other thing, one more thing I wanted to show, and we're actually going to, we can probably just simulate this, I guess. Let's open our actual. Okay. Moose workspace. My missions 2.0. 2.0 Miz. Yeah, this guy. Why not? Let's delete him. He just has a lot. So we're gonna put him here because I just wanted to show this again. We'll show this thing. So this border isn't a magical border that detects you and it just spawns aircraft at you. There is also a detection system in place, and that's why we have to have these radars here that pick you up and AWACS. Because if we didn't have that, they wouldn't detect you. You can just fly wherever you wanted. So it's not like a magical zone you cross and it has a trigger set up where, okay, you've crossed in the zone, now launch aircraft. It's actually still detecting you with radar. So what we're going to do is put him at 50 feet. I don't know if this works for AI. If it doesn't work, then I'll just do it manually. But we'll test it. So if we fly super low here, he's probably going to crash because it's AI, and that's just how AI works. He's not going to get detected. Alright, so just a quick little break. The AI sucks, so I'm just going to fly this myself. So I've pre-populated waypoints that match the border, so I can keep track of where the border is to show that, hey, we are across it. So, alright, we are in the air. We're going to get pretty low. I did plug in the waypoints again, so There. We actually probably are in the border now. So we're going to dive down to the deck. And hopefully nothing detected us at that point since the game had just started, but... Oh, I see what the problem was. Barometer, there, radar altitude, there we go. Let's turn on autopilot, and 50 feet looks good, we'll do that. Okay, so we're flying low. Okay, nothing had detected us, good. So at this point, GCI should have responded, because we're well within the border here. We're north of it. And we're just going to let this fly. And there's Cap. These guys haven't even launched Cap. No GCI was launched because, the radar hadn't detected us. Yeah. Whoa. I'm glad we weren't going to hit that ship. Or that ship. Oh, sorry. So yeah, we are going... Let me slow this down. We're going undetected here, so... Cap Flight's still doing his thing. Cap Flight's still doing his thing. I probably should have kept the tactical overview on to show this, but it's okay. And again, we are north of the border. So just to test this, I'm going to go full afterburner. I'm just going to pop up. So now, I should be getting detected. And either these MiGs will turn on me, which they should, because this should be within 50 miles. Yeah. So yeah, these MiGs are now coming to intercept me. Oh, sorry. So we can do our little bombing run if we had one or whatever, and then, either fight the MiGs or try and get out. But again, they didn't come after me until I was detected by radar, so it's not just some magic border, which is nice. But again, I'm going to show here where if I get out, they're still going to chase me. I'm going to come off the throttle. And I'm going to show you what happens, though, when I'm going to let them kill me, because I don't think I have any weapons. I have guns. Yeah. Okay, so... Definitely cross the border. But what matters is their distance. I said to 30-something miles, and they're still coming, so... So what happens then if, say... They follow me here, and I, get some liquid courage, or Greek comes to bail me out or something, and say, all right, we're gonna turn and fight these guys because we're awesome. I see them down there on my OWR, so we turn to fight. They're coming in pretty hot, and they are 45, almost 50 miles in now. Yeah. Like I said, I've set to 30, and it's adjustable, but they didn't want anything to, they don't want to listen sometimes, so. Fortunately, this is one of the times they did not listen, so what we're going to do is let them kill me so you can see what it looks like. Yeah, here comes a missile right here. Oh no, it's going to kill me, it's coming so fast. Okay, cool, it got me. So you can see here, instead of, the way on the older version of the map, these guys would go back and do their patrol or whatever and fly around and kill other guys. Now that I'm dead, these guys are going to go back to their previous tasks because, again, Moose is controlling them. So these guys are going to go back to their cap. And again, about fuel state, we could actually have the cap flights here aerial refuel on an enemy tanker, so they can stay, on station longer. The problem is again, the fuel threshold function isn't working. Once that gets working, it'll be much better. And it's well documented with the Moose right now, so nothing we can do. So they're going to go back and keep doing their cap flight.